hello, everyone. Welcome to Relationship Talk with Sharonda. I am your auntie Sharonda. Before we get started, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Yes, y'all, we have gotten through Resurrection Sunday and 420 here in the capital city. I hope everyone had an amazing time yesterday. The vibe for me was right. The weather was perfect. I had an amazing time. But let me say this, because I never tell people how to grieve. I never tell people how long it should take for them to grieve. I personally believe that you learn to live a life with grief. But just because you live a life with grief, it does not mean that life stops for you. I hope that makes sense for somebody. For example, I'm well aware that holidays are hard for people, especially when you've lost loved ones and when you've lost loved ones around the holidays. The day that I buried my mom was a Saturday and Easter was the very next day, right? So in the beginning, Easter was one of those holidays that was kind of like, for me, because it was so fresh and such it was a constant reminder. The springtime was just a constant reminder, right? However, I personally believe, and this is just me, that at some point we start to make a choice for ourselves. We start to make a choice about what it is that we're going to do and how we're going to do things and how we want to see our life, right? So, all my life, because keep in mind, I've been partnered in a relationship since I was 17 years old. Serious relationship, right? Marriage relationship, children, in-laws, all of this kind of stuff since 17. We always hosted holidays at our home. Now, keep in mind, I'm an only child, but the man that I was married to had lots of siblings. It was a bunch of them, right? So when we hosted, it would primarily be his family that was over. Well, guess what? I went through divorce, which means that was completely eliminated. And yes, I can host at my house, but guess what? Now I'm an empty nester. My kids are going off to college, right? I don't have siblings. So I remember right after my kids left, I'm cooking and doing all of this, and I would find myself throwing away so much food. And it just became a waste, because guess what? Everybody was living their own life. I'm not married anymore. So the extended family with the in-laws, they're not coming over anymore, which is understandable. My kids have left and went to college. They're spring breaking and doing the things that college kids do. And one thing about me as a parent, I never obligate my kids to come back to me. I've never been one of those parents that said, you got to come back and check on your mama. And your mama need to see you every day. You got to stay close to your mama. I've never been that type of parent. I've always been the parent that was like the bird in the nest, and the parent that kicked the bird out the nest and say, fly. Now let me see what you can do. Go out there and live your life for yourself and make your own choices, and you deal with the choices, whether they're good or bad. I'm going to be here. But don't let me be your reason not to fly. Okay? So I'm saying all of that to say, what I had to wrap my mind around was holidays for me might look really different than they've ever looked in my life, right? So what does a person like me do? Well, for a few years after the divorce, because it ain't been that long, right? One of the first years after the divorce, I relied heavily on my friend circles. I had friend circles. Friend circles invited me to their family. I did things with them, right? And then I started like looking for events. Like, okay, this is coming up. What's going on in the city during this time? I got out the mentality that the only way that I can have a good time is if it's with family. Because what I realized was this whole idea of family may not ever exist for me, right? This year, for the holidays, I'm in a relationship. So I'm spending time with him for the holidays. And sometimes if his family is hosting, we may go over there. Or he and I will just find different things to do with each other to entertain each other, which leads into this video. Right? I had an amazing Resurrection Sunday. I did. This is that time of year where we like to say hay fever or allergies because the weather's changing. It's a lot of pollen in the air. And we find ourselves taking allergy medicine like Zyrtex. Why do I have Zyrtex? Because this was the one that I was taking when the seasons change. My nose gets to itching, throats get itchy, eyes get watering, sneezing all over the place. So I ended up having to take some Zyrtex. Well, Zyrtex basically dries up the mucus and all of this stuff in your body. Well, if it dries up the mucus up here, then it dries up the mucus down there as well, right? So that means you sitting up here looking like, what is going on with my juice box? What is going on with it? Y'all, the Zyrtex will dry it up. If you experience this dryness from allergy medicine, any of them, right? Especially if you've been prescribed one, because a lot of y'all are prescribed allergy medicine because you have allergies just that bad. You can expect to experience vaginal dryness, right? How you shake that thing back? With Juicy as fuck. This is how you shake it back, baby. Baby, Auntie took this Juicy and the juice box was back in action. Because I was sitting up there like, oh, I know the change of life ain't hit me overnight like this. How this thing a fountain one day and a desert the next day? What is going on? And that's when it dawned on me, guess what? Sharonda, you taking Zyrtex. So the Zyrtex is what got you over here dried up. So what did I? Of course I use lubricant. I'm an advocate for lubricant, right? But I like my natural juices as well. And when my natural juices wasn't juicing, I got concerned. And I was like, look, I was just teaching perimenopause. I know goddamn well this ain't didn't happen to me overnight. But nope, it didn't. I took my little juice as fuck, regulated my body back, and that thing back being a super soaker like it has been. Mission accomplished. Right? Right. So, with that being said, get you some Juicy as fuck. You will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. Y'all, when I tell y'all I enjoyed my resume, let me tell you something. When you with someone and you enjoying the thing, you enjoying them just as a person outside of sex, right? And they are good to you and they're considerate of you and they're honest and they make sure that the relationship is safe. And I'm not talking about just physical, right? When I speak of a safe space, I'm talking about a physical, I'm talking about mental, I'm talking about financial, I'm talking about across the board. You really feel like you can come to them about anything and they feel like they can come to you about anything. And both people are emotionally mature, so you know that when you come into each other, it's none of this blowing up on each other or whatever, right? It frees you in a certain way. And that freedom a lot of times transfers over into the bedroom. And it allows you to open up and do different things or say whatever it is on your mind or whatever it is, whether how goofy or crazy it is, it gives you space to be able to do whatever, right? And I'm saying this because it was one of them moments and it was just a good time in the bedroom. It was just a really good time. And I don't know what it was that crossed my mind and was like, ooh, but you better say your ABCs. You better talk to him about this dick. So I was just talking to him about the dick, baby. But I was expressing it in the form of my ABCs, y'all. I don't know where this shit came from. Well, I know where it came from, but I'm not going to say where it came from because yesterday was a Resurrection Folks on this Sunday. However, you know, you just get these, I'm going to say the courage or whatever you want to, however you want to look at it, to just be able to be silly and do different things. But I challenge you to come up with some ABCs because, baby, I was like, A, amazing. And then I'm going to use it in a sentence. Ooh, this dick is amazing. B, beautiful. You could say blessed. You could say whatever you want to say. C, consistent. You consistent with whatever. D, dedicated. E, you come up with your own ABCs. But baby, I was saying my goddamn ABCs. Look, Auntie was enjoying herself yesterday. I had a great day on yesterday. Today, or this week, I get a little taste of being an empty nester because my baby has left and went on her college road trip. So I know for some people, the idea of empty nesting, it gives them anxiety, right? I guess because I've had a family since I was 17, and my whole life has been geared towards pouring and nurturing and growing everything around me. Everything around me I'm touching. I'm touching everything around me, impacting it in one way or another. Everything around me, right? I'm to a place where I'm looking forward to my time for me. I'm looking forward to everything that I've poured into everybody else and have nurtured them and allowed them to grow in certain ways. I'm looking forward to pouring that back into myself and allowing me to grow in a certain type of way. And prioritizing myself again, because when you experience the motherhood, one of the things that comes along with it is your children become your priority. Your husband become your priority. Your household, everything becomes your priority. I'm looking forward to cleaning up, leaving here, and coming back, and it's looking the exact same way I left it. I'm looking forward to not having to be obligated to come home right after work because I have my baby here. And I got to check on her and make sure she didn't eat, make sure she don't eat anything, and make sure she don't have errands to run and homework that she needs help with and all of that kind of stuff. So this week is going to be my little trial run so that I can see exactly what empty nesting is going to be like for me. And I mean, it may be fun in the beginning, and then I don't know, at some point I may become concerned and depressed about it or lonely. I don't know. But I'm one of them people that I know how to get out and enjoy myself, and I'll find me something to do if I want to go outside, Just like yesterday, my daughter, she was preparing for her college road trip. She really didn't want to go around the large crowds for the Easter block party that our councilman Darrell Hurst put together. And it was right across the street from my house. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to the block party. And I went right around the corner, parked my car, walked to the block party with my chair and my big cup of water. And baby sat in front of the stage. Cupid entertained us, learned 3 new line dances. I was able to secure a VIP band, wristband talking about. So I had access to the bar, even though I'm not a big drinker. I went over there and told them, fix me something sweet. They gave me a little sweet drink. I went to the food vendor, bought me some chicken wings. In other words, I know how to make the best of my situation. And I'm not saying that I went over there because I was settling. I went over there because I was, I knew that that's what I was going to do. Because that was a part of my plan. Remember I said I got to the point where I started looking for events because I didn't have a lot of things with family, right? So I make it my business to make sure that I enjoy my life. And one thing I'm not going to do is sit at home, look at the walls and waddle and be upset about people dying and a divorce happening and my life not looking the way it would traditionally look. No, I'm one of them people. I'm very forward thinking and I don't look back for nothing. I'm not looking back. I'm only looking forward. Right? So that's why I don't worry about that whole spinning the block. You ain't got to ever worry about your auntie spinning the block because she ain't looking back. Once she make up her mind that we moving forward, guess what? Mind made up, moving forward. That's the direction we're going. I'm not looking back. I'm only trying to see what else is out there for me. And I suggest that you do the same. Okay? With that being said, you be blessed. You enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your spring break. And I'm going to enjoy my trial run of empty nesting. Be blessed.